Hey there, welcome back once again. It's time for the Golden Age of DC Comics, 365 days where I take this beloved hardcover coffee table book given to me by one of my best friends about 2 decades ago. And it's been surfing my coffee table ever since. It's a great source of conversation about one of my favorite topics and pastimes, comic books. The Golden Age of DC Comics runs between 1938 and 1955. And what goes great with a coffee table book and some coffee table talk? Some good coffee. Get some for yourself. Pull up a chair. Have a cup up. Let's have some comic book conversation like we used to back in the old comic book shops. I miss those conversations. And if you love comics as much as I do, and I'm glad that you've tuned in. And how are you doing today? I hope you're doing awesome. I hope you know that a comic book or a good piece of fiction can spirit you away just for a few moments from some of these earthly problems we have. And that escapism is very vital. And our imaginations need to be nurtured as well. So congratulations, you're here. And thank you for coming aboard and having some conversation. What I do is I take this this Abrams 2004 press book written by Les Daniels, Chip Kidd, and Geoff Spear. And the link is in the description to the Amazon page. I believe it's about $7.50 US last time I checked. And get yourself a copy. It makes a great gift. Looks great on your coffee table. I know. And today is May the 26th, so I'm using the book for its intended purpose. I open to the day. We're going to look at some comic book art, and we're going to read the blurb. Then we're going to talk about comic books. And we're talking about comic books every day for the rest of the year. 3 p.m. U.S. Eastern. You know where I'll be. You'll be here too? I hope so. I'm very grateful and appreciative that you're here with me right now. It is May the 26th. This is art by John L. Blummer from the cover of All American Comics, number 11, February of 1940. This is a good almost 2 years before the U.S. enters World War II in the Pacific Theater later on. And, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, let's look at some art. This is Gary Concord, Ultraman, dun dun dun, heroic. All right, let's read the blurb. Although many superheroes, starting with Superman, were based on premises that could be vaguely described as science fiction, adventures set in the future were relatively rare in the early days of comic books. One exception involved the exploits of Gary Concord, also known as Ultraman. Just a glance at this cover shows that the character owes a considerable debt to the visual style of Buck Rogers, a popular newspaper strip drawn by Dick Calkins. Buck got his start in 1929 and lasted for decades. This is true. But Gary Concord was gone after a dozen issues. So let's say hello and farewell to Gary Concord, Ultraman, science fiction hero, based after Buck Rogers and Flash Gordon. And who came first? Okay, so who came first in the science fiction heroes? I think it was John Carter of Mars. That was Edgar Rice Burroughs, a fictional Virginian soldier who was a veteran of the American Civil War, who found a cave that spirited him away to the planet Mars, which they called Barsoom, and the native population there were the red Martians and then the green Martians. And this was first created in 1911, and but those were books, like prose books. Now Buck Rogers was a newspaper strip, and this was about the hero Anthony Buck Rogers and in the 25th century, and he was the man out of time, and it was just or was that a modern thing? I don't know. Buck Rogers early, like the first 3 frames of the series set the scenes for Buck's leap 500 years into Earth's future. I was 20 years old, and they stopped the World War and mustered me out of the air service. I got a job on the lower levels in an abandoned mine near Pittsburgh, in which the atmosphere had a peculiar pungent tang, and a crumbling rock glowed strangely. I was examining it when the roof caved in behind me, and Buck is rendered unconscious, and strange gasps preserve him in suspended animation, and he awakens from the mine in 2429 in the midst of another war. And so Buck is one of us now, 500 years in the future. And it's always been a great, fantastic tale. Then there was Flash Gordon. Flash Gordon was first published in January 7th, 1934 in a newspaper strip. This was originally drawn by Alex Raymond, and it was meant to compete with the already established Buck Rogers strip. And both of these would have movie serials. Buster Crabbe played both Buck and Flash Gordon. And yeah, and it's like, what? Yeah, well, Chris Evans did play the Johnny Storm and Steve Rogers. So, but yeah, so science fiction comics. And there's a very famous science fiction hero, Adam Strange, but his first appearance isn't until 1958, which would place him in the Silver Age of comics. The Golden Age of DC Comics runs from 1938 at Action Comics #1, the first appearance of Superman, until 1955, which is also the introduction of the Comics Code Authority seal of approval. It's just a random issue of Star Wars. Issue 68 is so expensive. It goes for like $250 everywhere. It's the first Mandalorian story, but no one ever remembers that issue 69 is part 2 of a part 2 story. And so yeah, I had these both when I was a kid. But yeah, so 1955 begins the Comic Code Authority's seal of approval. And also 1956 has the debut of the Silver Age Barry Allen, the Flash, the new Flash. And that begins the Silver Age of DC Comics. Maybe we'll cover that next year. But for this year and every day for the rest of the year, we're going to be talking about the Golden Age of DC Comics. So tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, U.S. tomorrow, and we'll figure out who we're talking about when we turn the page. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm very grateful to have these comic book shop style conversations with you. And I love comic books, and this is a really awesome way to spend some time, talking about comic books, just a little bit, couple of minutes every day for the rest of the year. And I look forward to it, and I look forward to hanging out with you. I look forward to seeing your comments and questions in the comment section. Do you have any ideas about the different ages of comics? It's a conversation that I'm willing to be part of, and you can be part of it too. Like and subscribe if you could be so kind. I make daily content. We talk about comic books every day. I'm a chef. I share with you some cooking hacks, and it's called the What's Cooking playlist. I'm a very spiritual guy, an ordained minister, an amateur theologian. Hashtag lighten up. It's about enlightenment and how spirituality can help you improve your daily existence. And I'm a big proponent of that. I want to share that with you. So like and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. God bless. Namaste. Good luck. And we'll see you tomorrow, 3 p.m. tomorrow, okay? Same Sully time, same Sully station. Cheers. Thanks.